Good morning, Shubho Shakal. May I have the kind permission of Father Vice Chancellor to begin the proceedings, please? Thank you, Father. We seek the blessings of the Almighty in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanaya Vinaktu Sahaviryam Karyavahai Tejashvinam Adhinamastu Ma Vivishavahai. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. That is the sloka of Taittiriya Upanishad, which the gurus and disciples used to chant every morning before the commencement of the day's study. Which means, let the teachers be blessed, let the students be blessed, let the studies be blessed and fruitful, and there should not be any difference between the teacher and the students. Most respected Father Rector, Father Vice Chancellor, respected fathers, brothers, sisters, respected professors of Vishwabharati University and professors of St. Xavier's University, Kolkata, including the Controller of Examination, the scholars, students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We come here just before the Christmas for an introspection at this place, which is Parasmoni, which is the outreach center of St. Xavier's University, Kolkata. Another one which has been gifted by none other than Father Vice Chancellor, who has gifted us, that is the St. Xavier's College, its rural campus at Raghupur, 2 hostels, and a separate building for the B.Ed department, and a full-fledged university. In the true value of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, incidentally, who has also been a Xaverian, we come here amidst the nature, with the sunlight, with people, with trees, with others, for our real studies and introspect. And this ashram is also an ashram within the Vishwabharati ashram. This year's topic is the values of Jesuit education and legacy, and the speaker is none other than Honorable Vice Chancellor of St. Xavier's University, Kolkata. Reverend Father Dr. John Felix Raj. I don't find myself competent to introduce either the topic or our beloved Father Vice Chancellor, because Father Vice Chancellor is known to all of us, and the topic will be explained none other than by Father Vice Chancellor in today's lecture. As per the desire of Father Felix Raj, we'll begin the program with the bowl song, Song of the Soil. We have Lalon Devangshi, Nandini Devangshi, and in accompaniment Joydev Lohar to present us a bowl song as an opening song. Joy Guru.
জয় গুরু।
জয় গুরু।
সকলকে নমস্কার জানিয়ে একটা বাউল গান পরিবেশন করছি। না ঘুচিলে মনে না ঘুচিলে মনে কামনা বাসনা মানুষ হব বললে হওয়া যায় না রে, মানুষ হব বললে হওয়া যায় না, মানুষ হব বললে হওয়া যায় না রে, মানুষ হব বললে হওয়া যায় না। না ঘুচিলে মনে না ঘুচিলে মনে কামনা বাসনা মানুষ হব বললে হওয়া যায় না রে, মানুষ হব বললে হওয়া যায় না। কামনা শূন্য না হইবি যদি কেমনে মিলিবে সেই প্রেম নিধি, কামনা শূন্য না হইবি যদি কেমনে মিলিবে সেই প্রেম নিধি। ওরে কামনার কামনার লেশ থাকিতে অবধি, ও তার ভাগ্যে কি জোটে সেই প্রেম সোনা, মানুষ হব বললে হওয়া যায় না রে, মানুষ হব বললে হওয়া যায় না। নির্বিকার হইলে হয় শুদ্ধ চিত্ত, সদা সত্য কথা বলে অবিরত। নির্বিকার হইলে হয় শুদ্ধ চিত্ত, সদা সত্য কথা বলে অবিরত। আবার ভাবে প্রেমে যে ভাবে প্রেমে যে জন থাকে উন্মত্ত, ও তার অভাবের ভাব কবু তো ঘটে না, মানুষ হব বললে হওয়া যায় না রে, মানুষ হব বললে হওয়া যায় না। মনের মানুষ সদাই থাকে হৃদের মাঝে, মানুষ হলে পরে সদাই তারে ভজে। মনের মানুষ সদাই থাকে হৃদের মাঝে, মানুষ হলে পরে সদাই তারে ভজে। তখন নিজে হয়ে মানুষ, মানুষ করে কত মানুষ। তখন নিজে হয়ে মানুষ, মানুষ করে তত মানুষ। সে অধরে মানুষ, মানুষই সেই জনা। মানুষ হব বললে হওয়া যায় না রে মানুষ, হব বললে হওয়া যায় না। গোসাই সুরেন বলেন যদি হবি মানুষ, মানুষের চরণে সদাই রাখিস হোস। গোসাই সুরেন বলেন যদি হবি মানুষ, মানুষের চরণে সদাই রাখিস হোস। ওরে সাধন রইলি গাধা, বইলি ভূতের বোঝা। ওরে সাধন রইলি গাধা।
Sadhu, 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 sadhu. May I now request other Jesuit fathers to kindly join Father Rector and Father Vice Chancellor in lighting the lamp, please. The controller of examination may kindly join also.
স্যার একটু সামনেটা যদি হ্যাঁ স্যার একটু হ্যাঁ স্যার হ্যাঁ স্যার
सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति 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 असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय
the lecture which has been distributed to you. But I'll be failing in my duty if I do not introduce him as a dreamer, planner, and achiever. As I said, that he has presented our nation with an expansion of a college, with its rural campus, twin hostels, new building of education, and a full-fledged Jesuit university. Apart from being an academic, administrator, builder, dreamer, planner, achiever, he is purely a researcher and academician where he introspects, loves to introspect. Jesuits it is the largest Catholic order, and primarily it is engaged in spreading education all over the country. So, as the Vice Chancellor of a Jesuit university and a teacher throughout his life, it is pertinent that Father shares his views and beliefs of legacy of Jesuit education. On behalf of all of us present here, may I now request Reverend Father Dr. John.
I must apologize for this delay. As it is often said, someone was telling me, I think it was Father Jairaj who told me, normally the audience wait for the speaker, but here the speaker was waiting for the audience. In this annual Christmas lecture. And so it was right on our part to delay. But a special apology from those who are attending from this place, from this university, because you had to wait and you were on time, but you had to wait for us. Parasmoni house. It is said that it is an extension center, a center of outreach programs of St. Xavier's University, Kolkata. This is the third lecture that we organize. The first one was in 2021 on Jesus Christ in the eyes of Rabindranath Tagore. And the second one was morning. I consider that your presence is always and I came to this conclusion of sharing with you the wise saying. And so life is born in order to live, die to our selfishness, die to our comfort. St. John chapter 12 verses 24 to 26, the wise saying of Jesus. of Jesus today is about 485 years old. Was born in (1773). Some Jesuits were arrested, and so all over the world, the Pope proclaimed a bull and said, the Society of Jesus is suppressed. Imagine, after 233 years of its life and service to the whole world, the Society was suppressed. And the suppression lasted. The Queen of Russia said, I will not suppress the Jesuits. I will not obey the Pope's bull. The Jesuits will continue to live in my country because they have contributed so much to the field of education in Russia. So Jesuits live there. And there was one Jesuit in Kolkata. I think Father Jairaj would know better. There was one Jesuit in Agra, because from Agra all the Jesuits were sent back. And so this was the official Society of Jesus was suppressed. It was the death of the society. Teaches us. That's an experience that we have gone through in our own life. The life traveled all the way to the east, to India and other countries, and then started the Jesuit work. And that's how the Belgians came to Kolkata, the West Bengal, and the Americans came to Jamshedpur, the Australians came to Hazaribagh, and the French went to Tamil Nadu. And as a student, as a teacher in the BCom department, he was very curious to know who the Jesuits were and how they lived. So one day he sneaked into the residence of the Jesuit fathers and opened one of the windows and was looking into the room of one of the fathers. And to his great surprise, he discovered there was a cot and there was a table and there were two chairs and a few books. Place and came over to India. He said, that was our vocation. We have Xavier's College and went and joined Arya Samaj and became a monk. And he still told me, of course, he died recently, he told me that visit of mine and that question of mine to one of the Jesuits or to his room enables a person to develop an all-round personality. And it is a humanizing process. If the education that we receive makes us better human beings, then of course it has a certain amount of impact on us. Otherwise, no. Education is for transformation. It makes human beings competent and wise to meet the challenges of life. Yesterday, one of the officers from Bebel met me. He told me that he wanted to be a student at St. Xavier's College, but unfortunately, for some reason or other, he joined and after 5 days he had to leave. He said, I was not fortunate. But whenever I got an opportunity to walk by St. Xavier's, to enter into St. Xavier's campus, I always did that. I admired these great Jesuits, and they brought in a great transformation in me. And he said, the education that the Jesuits offer in their institutions is of quality education. And that's why I admire them. Because today quality education is rare. Jawaharlal Nehru once declared, I quote, if all were well with our educational institutions, all will be well with the nation. And so our educational institutions are the mirror, are the reflection of the nation. And therefore, a general condition of our And so when we are in the classrooms teaching our students, we are in fact doing the destiny of our country. And if that awareness is deep within us, so many things would happen. The world population today is 8.045 billion. It's growing. You use that app in your mobile phone, it just keeps running every day, every moment. So we are called to live together, all these 8.045 billion people, sustainably and harmoniously. And that's a challenge before each one of us. How can we, with so much of people on this planet, live harmoniously and sustainably? The educational network in which we are all engaged empowers us to work towards this is what we call Society of Jesus, the Jesuits. The beginnings, it's very interesting to see, of the Society of Jesus began from a university milieu. Ignatius, after so many years of experience roaming around after his conversion, he lands up in the famous University of Paris for his MA, postgraduate studies. And he is in the classroom of Francis Xavier, a young professor. And so Ignatius, every day after the class, goes to the door. He would stand at the door and repeat the words, "What does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul?" And he kept repeating. And Francis Xavier would sit, told Ignatius, "Have you gone mad? Why do you repeat? Why do you say these things? Because you are senior to me, at least about 14 to 15 years senior to me, though my student, but you look older and mature. But why do you repeat these?" But Ignatius kept repeating. And so one day Francis Xavier said, "You need some counseling." And so they went to the university park, and then after 3 hours they came back. And the Professor Francis Xavier became the disciple of Ignatius, his student. That was the conversion. And so Francis Xavier and Ignatius joined together. And then they took another 5 persons. So Ignatius had about 6 companions in the university and started a small little group. And that group later became the Society of Jesus. So, the Society of Jesus, the Jesuit order, had its beginning in a university, education and milieu. Maybe that was the reason why today the Jesuits are known all over the world as educationists. So this transformation came what? Between the period 1528 to 1540. In 1540, the Society of Jesus was officially recognized and approved by the Pope. The number of Jesuits in the beginning were just 7 with Ignatius. That was when it began. But today, we have, if you see in that booklet, page 6, in 1900 we have about 15,000 Jesuits, and in 23 we have the same number, about 14,195 Jesuits. This is January 23. But in between, it's cyclical. If you see in 1965, it's the highest number. 36,000 Jesuits all over the world. But it dwindles down and has come down to 14,195. Maybe if you take now that it is after a few months, it may have gone down still. For various reasons, the number is dwindling. Value systems in the society at large, among our students and people, have changed. And so not many are joining, not only the Jesuits, but also religious life. Not only in the Christian churches, but also in other societies like Ramakrishna Mission. Very few are joining today. And so this is what is happening. For various reasons, of course, not only values, but also families have become small. Nuclear family. 1 child, 2 children. So you can't blame. Whatever be, the Jesuits' number has come down, and so the responsibility now would land in the hands of lay people. More and more lay people have to take responsibilities in administering and running the Jesuit institutions with Jesuit identity and Jesuit values. The Jesuit mission in South Asia began with Francis Xavier, because the Indian mission, our South Asian mission, was right at the beginning. In 1542, after the Society of Jesus was founded, Ignatius asked Francis Xavier, "Could you go over to India?" I mean, Francis Xavier, highly educated man, and the first one of the founders of the Jesuit order, being asked to go to India. And Francis Xavier says, "Yes, as my master says. And so Francis Xavier comes to India in 1542. And he lived here only for 10 years till 1552. And he lived on this planet, on this earth, only for 46 years. He died at the age of 46. And in 46 years, and especially during what we call the Xaverian decade, he achieved so much. It is said he traveled about 60,000 miles. He landed in India and then traveled to Sri Lanka. All alone, in the company of another man. And so he was buried there for a couple of months. And then Jesuits realized in Goa that Francis Xavier's body is there. And the body was taken to Malacca, that is Malaysia. And from Malaysia it was brought to Goa. And so still, after so many years, the body remains in Goa. Is it because of any chemical treatment? No. We always believe that there is some miracle there. This holy man continues to live, though of course his body has shrunk and dried up. This Francis Xavier took charge of the first college in Goa, first Jesuit college. It was handed over to him to be administered, and he took over this college, and this St. Paul's College, Goa, in 1541. And that became, 1542, and that became, of course, the foundation of many more Jesuit colleges and schools in this country. After Francis Xavier, Jesuit educations were started in Europe. Many Jesuit education schools and colleges. And so the Jesuit education spread all over the world. 19th century was a century of growth of Jesuit order as well as growth of Jesuit work in Jesuit educations. And Jesuits dispersed to different countries, to Latin America, to India, to Asia, to Africa, and to various other countries. And the first institutions, as you would see in page 8 in India, where this St. Joseph's College, Tichinapalli, was started in 1844. But as Father Jairaj would agree with me, St. Xavier's College, Kolkata, was started even earlier in 1834, 10 years before St. Joseph's College, Tichinapalli. But then it had a very short lifespan. Afterwards, the Belgians came in 1859-60 and started St. Xavier's College, what is in Park Street now. Then you have a few other institutions which began in 19th century. And today you have about 75 Jesuit colleges, like St. Xavier's College, Kolkata, university colleges, and other institutions, about 18 management institutions. And all over the world, we have about 4,000 educational institutions run by the Jesuits, and of which all types of educational institutions are about 417 today in India. And in these institutions all over the world, also late. Any book on the history of education in Europe will definitely have a mention of the Jesuit educational work in Europe. The Ratio Studiorum, it was a document that was prepared in the 16th century, at the end of the 16th century, and this remains still today as a classic. We can refer back to this so many years old, so many centuries old, but still remains a classic. Because it was a document produced as a guide to all those who wanted to start schools and colleges all over the world. Something special is that Jesuit educational methods flow from the Jesuit order's spirit. It's not like starting an educational institution for commercial purpose. Today we have 446 private universities in this country. Because today is the fifth phase in the educational system that we are going through. And the fifth phase is a phase of private universities. In 1960 we had 5 private universities in this country. And today we have 446 private universities in this country. And we have in West Bengal 11 private universities. And most of these private universities have been started either by industrialists or by politicians. In our own country, in our own state, we have 11 of them, and 2 are by religious orders. One is by the Ramakrishna Mission and the other is by the Jesuits. But all other, the 9 of them are of course by business community people. And so where do we stand? Of the 446 private universities, most of them started by politicians. And so there we stand. But with regard to Jesuit educational methods, these methods flow from the Jesuit order's spirit. What is that spirit? That spirit we call the Jesuit charism, Ignatian charism. Ignatian charism is a moment of God's grace to Ignatius. That's what I said, that Ignatius' dreams, his own personal ways were taken away, and God gave his own dreams and his own ways. And that was the moment of grace. And that's what we call God's favor as a charism, Ignatian charism. And where does this Ignatian charism flow from? It flows from what we call the spiritual exercises. If you are interested, of course, do a little bit of work on Jesuit education. Of course, you can definitely do it on the spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius, a manual for spiritual growth, a retreat. That spiritual enter into what we call the characteristics and the values of Jesuit education. The characteristic and the values of Jesuit educations are these. As I said, ad maioram Dei gloriam. Everything that a Jesuit does He wants his professors, he wants his staff members, he wants his students to do. What is it? That everything that you do, whether you study in the classroom, or whether you play on the playground, football ground, or whether you are in the canteen having a meeting with your friends, whatever you do, or whether it is in your family, you are of some service to your parents, whatever you do, even the raising of your hand, is for the greater glory of God. And that's what it flows from you. That you become a spiritual person. As the great Jesuit philosopher said, Teyari Chaden. He has written a beautiful book called The Hymn of the Universe. If a human person listens to the hymn of the universe, he or she has achieved the level of spirituality. It seems the universe is singing a hymn. And so if you can listen to that hymn, then you have achieved, you have grown. But many of us cannot even listen to this hymn that is being sung by the universe. The birds and the trees and the sky and the mountains. No. So he says, there is a hymn that is being sung at every moment of life. And a person who listens to this hymn becomes matured and grown in life. And that's what it is. And he says, if that consciousness is deep within, then you say to yourself, all that I do is for the greater glory of God. The second characteristic of a Jesuit education is what we call cura personalis. The cura personalis means care for the person. Care for each individual person. And that's what is being done in any Jesuit institution. Not that it is done 100%. There may be, of course, shortcomings and failures. But this is the purpose for which we want to run a Jesuit educational institution. That we are concerned about every child, concerned about every student that the parents entrust to us, to our care. And so we give that personal concern, personal care of each individual. And the third, of course, is what I said, magis, that is the philosophy of any Jesuit educational methods. And this magis is greater and greater and greater. And so our motto, institution's motto, St. Xavier University's motto, that is nihil ultra, nothing beyond. Now the motto of St. Xavier's School, motto of St. Xavier's College, the same thing, it flows from this, magis, nothing beyond. So in your journey to achieve wisdom, knowledge, there is no end. You continue. It's a process that keeps continuing. Next, of course, is we are there as Jesuits in our Jesuit institutions to form men and women for others. This is a phrase that was, of course, coined by one of our famous generals, Father Pedro Arrupe. He said, we are in this world as Jesuits, as men on a mission, as disciples of St. Ignatius, in order to form men for others and with others. And so every student who goes through the portals of St. Xavier's or goes through the portals of any Jesuit institution is supposed, of course, to go through this process and become a man for others, or become a woman for others. That is, leaders. Leaders who would make a difference in life, in their own life and the lives of others. People who would fit into the outside world. Not that they would just go there to fulfill certain requirements, but people who face challenges in life. The fifth, of course, characteristic is unity of minds and hearts. We want to live a life united together with union of minds and hearts, and we want to see that reflected in the lives of our students and faculty members. Union of minds and hearts, because unity is strength. You stand together, you win. And so in order to promote this unity, that we want to promote the union of minds and hearts, think together and grow together. Number 6, of course, is contemplatives in action. These two go together. This is what we call a process. Action, reflection, action. So we need to be contemplatives in action. Then we have greater impact on the lives of our students. It is to cultivate a sort of a synchronizing relationship. A relationship between God and me. A relationship between myself and my neighbor. A synchronizing relationship that promotes harmony among ourselves. And that's what it's called, that we give up negativity in life and promote positivity in life. And if you live with greater positivity, you become a very fruitful and successful person. So we have to be contemplatives in action. Not that we want to be only achievers, but we will have to reflect on every achievement that we have made, so that the achievement teaches us further, gives us lessons to move ahead in life. And finally, of course, is finding God in all things. Ignatius would keep on saying in his spiritual exercises that we are all here to find God in everything. Whether it is in our family, whether it is in our children, whether it is in our classmates, whether it is in our colleagues, whether it is in the marketplace, or whether it is in the playfield, wherever it is, wherever you stand, you come face to face with God. That's what Tagore said. Tagore very beautifully said. You are looking for God in the temples and churches and mosques, you may not find Him there. But you find Him with a tiller in the land. You find Him in the marketplace where people are selling their fish. You find Him in different other places. And that's what Ignatius also said. And that's why in that century, 15th century, he became, 16th century, he became a revolutionary. Reformer, a man who thought differently. A man who brought God in a different way. A man who gave a different interpretation to the whole approach. Contemplatives in action. Finding God in everything that you do. Even if you move your finger, you move just because of the divine presence in your finger. You don't do anything by yourself. And that awareness has to come deep within us to say that all that I do, is it because of the divine power that is present deep within me. And this is what it is. And that's what Ignatius did in his life, and that's what he wanted every Jesuit to live according to this principle. And he said this must be, of course, carried forward in each one's life, in his apostolate, in his ministry. And that is in schools, colleges, wherever a Jesuit works. That he has to reflect this and see that this impact or this has an influence on the lives of people. And that's why Ignatian charism becomes very important. And that's something very specific. As somebody said yesterday to me, many of the colleges are not having admissions. There are the states and country, it is happening. And so this is what it is. So people discover, people see what is happening. There are institutions, of course, very successful, very fruitful, who have followed the mission, who have followed the principles of education. Not that only Jesuit institutions, some other institutions do, but there are great institutions, great universities, producing great leaders. And that's why, of course, Dr. Abdul Kalam could fall back. Whenever he went to South, or even before he took over as the president, the first person he says he remembered was his professor. And so he went all the way to St. Joseph's College, Trichinopoli, where he lived for 5 years as a student, and visited his institution and wanted to visit the hostel where he lived in. So when he was taken to the hostel, he went to the room where he lived and knocked at the door, and a little boy, undergraduate boy, opened the door and he said, "Oh, there you are." will you become like me tomorrow, a president of this country? And the boy said, no, I don't want to become anyone. And Abdul Kalam told him, this is the negativity with which we people grow. If you have negativity and say no, nothing will happen. Be positive, high ambitions, that you want to become a leader. And that will change our life. And this is what happens. And this is what we try to do in every Jesuit institution. And many institutions, of course, definitely try to do, bring about transformation. Because it is our purpose, it is our goal, it is our aim. Not only transform ourselves, transform the locality, transform our state, and transform, of course, the whole country and the whole world. And that's why the famous story of the conversion goes about. That I wanted to convert the whole world and I couldn't. Then I wanted to convert this country and I couldn't. And I wanted to convert my region and I couldn't. And I wanted to convert my family and I failed. Then why is it? Then I wanted to convert myself. If I had begun first with the conversion of myself, then I would have converted the whole world. And that's what this famous thing goes about. So conversion comes, charity begins at home, and conversion comes from each one of us. So if we want to become leaders, definitely we can. And with that note of positivity, that God will continue to, of course, guide us and help us to grow. I end here. Maybe we can have a few questions, interact, and then break for lunch. Open to the house.
Jesuit charism. Now there is so much to speak on this particular topic. Of course, time constraint is there. Father tried his level best to sum up. We would love to take a few questions from the August gathering here. My request would be when you, in fact, if you want to propose a question, kindly introduce yourself as to who you are. And then we will ask Father to answer those questions. Can I request the runner to please hand over the mic to the gentleman in front?
Thank you very much, Father Felix Raj. Really, it is a wonderful moment for me to meet you again here in this auspicious occasion. I must congratulate you for delivering nice lecture related to various aspects of Jesuit legacy and education. Really, there are many misunderstandings. Am I audible?
No. I think without the mic you'll be audible. Yeah. Go ahead without the mic.
So there are many misconceptions related to the legacy or education related to conversion. It has already cleared by you. However, conversion does not only mean to that the change of faith. It is the conversion which you have ended and concluded. In relation to it, wonderful works they are going on throughout the globe. But in Indian context, this is my inquisitiveness to know something that the most of the institutions are only based on the urban areas. There are a lot of people, those who are eagerly waiting for such type of institution like St. Xavier's or other institutions in the rural areas. Can we able to do something to fulfill their desire, their eagerness, so that rural people, we can help them to uplift and actually disseminating the opportunities towards them so that they can take share in conversion of themselves too. Or one institution or branch of St. Xavier's can be opened, or many branches can be opened, various other parts of the rural areas. That will be much more effective. But wonderful works are going on.
Was saying we opened a campus of St. Xavier's College in a rural sector where there are now 800 students. Of the 800, 650 are girls, women. Otherwise they wouldn't have gone to any other college except a few. This is something. But of the Jesuits, 200, about nearly 200 Jesuits only in Calcutta region, at least about 50 to 60 of them in the rural sector. I can name you. Father himself was in one place. Gurab, Pandua, Mirga, Kalna, Jantipahadi, all these places are the remote villages where either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Jesuits are running educational institutions. And so these are prepared and sent to the mainstream schools. And this flows from what we call in our society as preferential option for the poor. Every Jesuit must have in his work a preferential option for the poor. A poor student, either from the village or from the slums or from anywhere, should not go back from a Jesuit institution saying that he or she does not have money to study in this institution. We have to find our ways and means of educating that child, whether he or she be a first generation child or a poor child without any economic background. So this is something that has been happening, but this is not advertised, this is not spoken about, because St. Xavier's in Park Street is very well known. Everybody knows. St. Xavier's University in Newtown, everybody knows. But these little works that we do, which are more important to us than St. Xavier's College, but less known to the public. But with regard to that conversion, yes, I think St. Xavier's College today is 163 years old. And I don't think there can be one individual who can say that I was forced by somebody to be converted religiously, not otherwise, but in terms of religion, faith. I don't think so. That's not our purpose.
You, Father. This is Shobar. For this fascinating lecture. It may look like a history, but it's Bangalore. It's actually created some questions in me for days now. This hymn you were talking about. This hymn you were talking about. How this, on the one hand, the great work for the greater community, for others, for the world, and the pursuit of individualism. There is a great contradiction, and it is being sharpened every day. The surplus in man is either being suppressed or being taken away, or being branded as a foolish trait in some of the individuals. So it's a big question, I know. So if we get some idea of how do you deal with this, because you are dealing with this question.
It's true. It is a question posed to many people. The other day, Mr. P. Chidambaram was at St. Xavier's University. More or less, the same question was posed because it was in terms of fear, not in terms of surplus of man, but it is in terms of fear. There is fear all over the world. People are afraid to take steps. People are afraid to ask questions. People are afraid to take up challenges. They don't want to write anything, bold. So he said, the fear will always be there. It was there when Adam and Eve were created, and it is there today also. So fear will always be there. It all depends on how we handle this fear. Whether we use that surplus productively, whether we take up challenges and learn from others. There is definitely this surplus is being, of course, forced to be out. But at the same time, there are prophets, there are heroes, there are leaders who are taking up. There is justice. Justice cannot be, of course, wiped away from the face of the earth. It will always remain. What looks like that injustice is winning over. But that's not the reality. Because definitely truth will win over. Truth will always be there. So that's my approach. And we needn't be afraid of anything. There shouldn't be any fear among us, but we should continue. But what happens is, the negative force is very powerful, which is true, definitely true, in every field. But then we will have to face that force. We need prophets today, we need heroes today, we need leaders today to show us the way.
So I will ask you a very simple one, not a complicated one. Congratulating you for being here with us today, and you have delivered a wonderful lecture. I'm not a very religious person. Obviously, when you are born in a family, you follow some religious practices blindly almost, because your parents ask you to follow. But then when you say that about conversion within, then when we grow up and with all the rationalistic orientation, we start losing our faith, which was actually imposed on us in childhood, and lack of beliefs start creeping in our understanding. So I wanted to point to a different problem, which is that the whole world is experiencing, among the youth, also there is a research, Pew Research, and people are losing faith almost everywhere in the world. Even in Saudi Arabia, overtly, there's a very religious, they are celebrated for their piety. But they are also, among the young people, 25% almost, they are not having any religion. So I was just looking at with my kid, he's in 8th standard, so I'm showing that what is happening in Europe. In Europe, you see, no religion, the demographic distribution of the population, no religion is coming as a significant category, but not that much in Asia. And now you were saying that people are not interested to be a monk or to be a father, Jesuit father, and to continue this pursuit. And then there is a gap, and to fill the gap, you want to collaborate with the lay people. So if the lay, like the younger people, they're losing their faith, then there is a conflict, something needs to be reconciled. Now, I'm not saying that there is not a conversion experienced by those people who are actually following no religion. I believe that conversion within is experienced both by those people who are having a particular faith, or can be experienced by those who are not having any particular faith or following a no religion. So that's my opinion. So how do you reconcile that if you really want to have the kind of educational methods you want to pursue globally, but the younger generation are going through the phase lack of belief?
So it's a very good question. I like that. But the problem is this, I don't want to approach it this way. It is true, in the Western world, they are not asked any more religion. Because it's an offense if you ask religion. As we also would say in our country, to ask about caste. Religion doesn't matter, but caste is a very touchy issue. So what is happening today is people don't want to reveal their religion, but they have, it's growing. Spirituality is my religion. I don't want to be a Christian, a Hindu, a Muslim, a Zoroastrian, a this and that, but leave religion to myself. It's my personal affair. This is a phase that one has to go through. As an individual goes through different phases in life, the society also is going through different phases in life. So this is a phase one goes through. And definitely one may not fall back that I want to call myself, continue to call myself Christian, but that transformation take place. It will definitely take place. All that we want is whether you identify to a particular religion or it is your personal matter between God and you, that you want to believe in more in spirituality rather than a religious thing. It's fine, well and good. That's what it is. Yes.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
আপনি বসে প্রশ্ন করতে পারেন।
বলুন। না, পিছনে।
আপনার পেছনে একজন আছেন, আপনি বসেই প্রশ্ন করতে পারেন।
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
আপনি বসেই প্রশ্ন করতে পারেন।
বলুন।
Real, I would ask you politely if you kindly let me know what you think about this. Conversion, that means if I want to lead a life of spirituality, then there may be a conversion within my life. As it happened in Mohiti Devendranath's life, you may all know that story. One day, Maharishi Devendranath, while he was undergoing some kind of transformation within his mind, he was trying to, he was having some spiritual experiences. During that time, suddenly a piece of paper being blown by the wind fell into the room, and he looked at the paper, and to his amazement, he found a Vedic hymn is written over there. It was Tena Dattena Bhunti. That means enjoy while renouncing the world. This kind of conversion, and he was really transformed into a different person after that. He became a Shadra. But he was a family man, and he founded here his ashram, which gradually grew into a large university, I should say, globally accepted as a very, very special institution, where Gurudeva Rabindranath tried to inculcate into minds of people here same messages you have given us right now, like taking care for each other and raising your mind to an upper level of being, sometimes by meditation, through meditation. There are still prayer services being carried out here on different occasions. Vaitalik, musical choir, moving musical choir, but there are spiritual aspects linked with this university. But and there were also some Christians living here for quite a long time, working for Bishop Bharati. Andrews was one of them. He came directly from Christian order. But Pearson or Elmhurst and other Europeans or persons coming from different parts of the world, they did not belong to the Christian order. But Leonard K. Elmhurst, he was a true Christian in the sense that he cultivated the quality of charity, which is a Christian virtue, we all know. It's a virtue which is found in Hindus as well. But he contributed a lot of money for the formation of Shantiniketn. And all of them rendered selfless service here, dedicated service, which is certainly associated with Christianity or any other religious beliefs.
That's true. Thank you. Thank you for the information. Of course, it's not a question that I can answer, but you have enriched us, yes.
Not a question.
Yes.
That is a heartfelt appreciation to all of you, rather from everyone's point of view.
Now the thing is that the December page of your calendar, that 2-3, I think Christ-less picture is there. That Christ is the Guru. Where from you got it? That's all information. Excellent picture. I don't know where notice or not. What a message that simple picture is giving. Integration of religion, whatever you say. If you look into the picture, you will get answer like anything. Here, whatever guest I got in my house, everybody took the picture of that photograph and said they will get it started. Second thing is that not the question. The thing is that you know better than me and everyone knows the link between the character formation and the education process. Is it a psychic? Is it a psychic? That's the thing. What is your view? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Of course, character formation and education, of course, it is mutual, cyclical, it's a process. Yes. You don't say education as an end and a character formation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Can we have the mic, please?
Let me first appreciate, Father, the way you introduced Jesuit legacy and education. I am Shukumar Pal, faculty of Department of Social Work, Bishop Bharati. But before I pose two simple questions, I would like to just introduce my background with the Jesuit, because already I have worked for about 9 years with Indian Social Institute, where I had opportunity to work with Dr. Jose Canonical, Walter Fernandez, Paul Gorivier, Father Sylvester Raj, so many. And many of them definitely developed their excellence in different areas. For example, Walter Fernandez, already the founder of the Northeast Social Science Research Center, and Jose Canonical already developed one excellent organization in Bihar Dalit Vikas Samiti, where lakhs of members of Dalit members are there. So my query is that definitely wherever I interacted, I got changes within myself. It is not just to live for myself. for the education for greater transformation. And secondly, that when we talk about the transformation, there is not only the education which is empowering, there are other aspects too. When you are trying to empower, at the same time, if you are just including that point of the activism, there is a danger. In the sense, I have seen even the case of Indian Social Institute, the case of Gandhi Peace Foundation, where crores of rupees were seized because they were identifying the core issues of, say for example, the bonded labor. So there is a danger when we would like to empower or we would like to just work for the core issues. So how will you resolve those areas? Thank you.
I cannot give you a ready-made answer to how, when in the process of empowerment of either be Dalits, or it be poor, or it be women, or it be children, or it be anyone, that you will have to face challenges. Dangers are always there from different groups. It could be government, it could be associations, it could be anyone. If you're really empowering others, you will have to face it, and you will face it. And I think when one does it with that courage and determination, you have the way.
We'll take just one more question, because this is such a topic we can keep speaking on it. We can take one more question from this side, because it seems that the crowd on this side haven't. We'll just take one question and then. So just summing up from what Father has spoken, there was the first question about the impact of Jesuits in rural India, and then of course Shomo sir had a question about the fear factor. Truth shall prevail, Shukti, joy will happen one day or the other. And of course there was a question of religion, of spirituality. So there are many